I love the sound of rain.
I do too.
Good morning on this terrific Tuesday, May the 12th of 2020. There's Bandy and Jana and another Jana. We have Jana Burris and Jana Nunley on. Good morning, ladies. I want to say a special shout out to my friend Hammy in Australia. So cool. Australia. Jane. Hi, Jane. Good morning. Hi, Kathy. Tickled to see you guys on. Dawn. Hi, Dawn. And Callie Neal, if you'll like Elizabeth Inman public page, I'll be able to see you. Bandy's saying hello to you, but I can't see you. I think if you haven't liked my page, I'm not able to see when you come on. Anyway, welcome, Callie. So glad to have you guys on. Be sure and share the videos on your Facebook page or send them out to people. And hi, Judy. Good morning, good morning. Hi, Eileen. Hugs to you too. Everybody, there's hugs from Eileen.
Yay!
From Kansas. There I see Callie. Oh, yay. Good morning, good morning. We're in May the 12th. We're reading about the life of Saul, King Saul. I just am fascinated by the story of King Saul. But as much as I wanted to focus on King Saul, last night when I read, and again this morning, I think the good Lord was wanting to talk to me this morning. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. In fact, I know he was. And I'm grateful when he does. First of all, Samuel is getting up in age. And so he's addressing the Israelites. In fact, he starts right off just telling them, you know, ever since I was a young boy, I've served you and I've served as your leader, and have I ever done anything contrary? And they assured him he had not. So here he is getting towards the end of his life, and he has served these people his whole life. He served God. He has served God by serving those people his whole life. And I love his words to him. Let's read in 1 Samuel chapter 12, verse 6. It was the Lord who appointed Moses and Aaron, Samuel continued. He brought your ancestors out of the land of Egypt. Now stand here quietly before the Lord as I remind you of all the great things the Lord has done for you and your ancestors. So the people had been sinning. They had not been doing what they knew to be right. And how did Samuel turn them around? By listing a gratitude journal, by reading the things that he is so grateful for, telling the people they should be so grateful for, all of the things, all of the great things that the Lord has done for you. So in my column, God continues to reinforce to me how powerful a grateful journal is, how powerful it is for us to take time and list all the miracles that God has done for us, all the things that we're grateful for, all the things that we're thankful for, especially in time of need, especially during tough times. And then it goes on, and Saul steps up. Not only does Saul step up, but so does his son, Jonathan, and immediately they start going to war. And so they're going about doing their thing, defending their country. And then here's the part that once again, not only through the listing the great things that God's done for him did God speak to me, but this part of Saul really, really gets me. I'll start reading in verse, I think it's verse 8, 5, 6, 7. It's right before, so it's at the end of verse 7. Meanwhile, Saul stayed at Gilgal, and his men were trembling with fear. Saul waited there 7 days. So they've got a big battle that's coming up. And he has summoned Samuel to come. And Samuel's supposed to come. And so anyway, they're waiting on Samuel. Saul waited there 7 days for Samuel, as Samuel had instructed him earlier, but Samuel still didn't come. Saul realized that his troops were rapidly slipping away, so he demanded, "Bring me the burnt offerings and the peace offerings," and Saul sacrificed the burnt offerings himself. So have you ever been in that place where you've prayed and you've prayed and you've prayed, and we've served the Lord long enough to know that when we pray, he answers, and the answer's coming, but it's just not there. It's just not there. You've got adult kids that are just struggling, and they're fussing and fighting or whatever, and you've been praying and you've been praying. You know what God has for them. You know that what God has for those kids' marriage is good. You know that it is, but then they have another fuss and they have another fight, and then you can just sense it. You think, oh my goodness, World War III is going to break out. What's going to happen? And we get our eyes off of the Lord and what he has spoken to us and the promises he's made to us. And we start looking at the external. Saul started looking at those men slipping away. So they're already fearful. Saul knows it. Now, why do you suppose his men were fearful? Because he was fearful. And I'm going to mix two stories here, but I get tickled at the mamas who say, oh, my son just can't stand to go to the dentist. He's so scared. 99% of the time, the small children are reading how the parents are feeling when they take them in. That just happens. I mean, you have a thunderstorm come and you're sitting on the couch and you got your two young kids beside you, and all of a sudden your body tenses up and your breathing becomes different because there's a bad thunderstorm going on, and then the kids are the ones that'll holler out, "Mom, I'm scared." But they sense it in you. We all are a leader. We all have somebody watching us. How are we responding to what's going on today? Saul's men were fearful, I'm quite sure, because he was fearful. It didn't specifically say that in today's reading, but it definitely implied that. Saul was watching his men slip away. If he wasn't fearful, why would he disobey God? Why would he not do what the prophet told him to do? See, the prophet spoke for God to the people. Samuel had told him to go there and to wait on him. And as he watched the men slip away, he took matters into his own hands. So my kids are fussing and fighting, and I've prayed and I know what God wants, but then they fuss and they fight again, they fuss and fight again. And so by golly, I just got to pick up the phone, or I'm just going to go over there. And I just get right ahead of God. I mean, I'm just using some daily examples of some things that we can deal with. Just trying to think of some common things. We're waiting on a decision. We're waiting on a decision. What do I do, Lord? Do I go here? Do I go there? Do I not go there? And then we get tired of waiting. We just quite haven't got the answer yet. And so we just do it. And thank God he meets us right where we are. I mean, you'll see he gives Saul 1,000 second and third and 1,000 second chances. But we just get ahead of him. And this morning, I know that reading about what Saul did here just is a reminder to me to be still and know that I'm God. To just be still and know that all he had to do was wait. He had no longer made the sacrifice and the burnt offering himself. And verse 10 says, just as Saul was finishing with the burnt offering, Samuel arrived. Saul went out to meet and welcome him, but Samuel said, "What is this you've done?" And Saul replied, "Well, I saw my men scattering from me, and you didn't arrive when you said you would, and the Philistines are at Michmash ready for battle. So I said, the Philistines are ready to march against us at Gilgal, and I haven't even asked for the Lord's help. So I felt compelled to offer the burnt offerings myself before you came. It's all your fault. It's all your fault, Samuel. It's all your fault. Boy, do we do that. Do we live in a society of it's all your fault? Well, I wouldn't be like this if it wasn't for my mother and what she did to me when I was, well, I wouldn't be this way unless, except for my dad. And, well, I only responded that way because you made me. Yeah, don't think these scriptures won't speak to you in the mornings. We may be reading historical text, but there's always a message for us. So I felt compelled to offer the burnt offerings myself. And in John chapter 7, leave here and go to Judea where your followers can see your miracles, they told him. You can't become famous if you hide like this. That's what the disciples are saying to Jesus. If you can do such wonderful things, show yourself to the world, for even his brothers didn't believe in him. And then Jesus' reply to that, now is not the right time for me to go. Is that tied to what we just read about? Be still, know that I'm God. Jesus didn't have to get in a hurry. Jesus didn't have to go out and show himself to the whole world. It wasn't his time. The world can't hate you, but it does hate me because I accuse it of doing evil. Now we're going to talk about fear. How fearful we are to call things like they are. How fearful we are to call a sin a sin. I mean, there's a whole sect out there that won't even use the word sin. And I understand. I know clearly Jesus changed everything for us. Didn't change what Jesus said right here. The world can't hate you, but it does hate me because I accuse it of doing evil. This book spells it out for us. There's people that wants to change it. They want to sugarcoat it. They want to say, oh, well, that was just written for back then. That doesn't have any application to me today. Today, it's reminding me that when I don't wait on God and I get in a hurry and I want to do it my way, it's a sin. There's consequences. I don't lose my salvation. I still get to live heaven on earth, but I'll suffer some consequences when I jump ahead of God and I don't wait on God. I love reading this. It just absolutely teaches us how to live our life, how to overcome the hard things in this life. So I just want to encourage you to continue to read. We are on day 134. We are 1/3 of the way through the Bible. Look how much we've read. Look at how thick that is. Some of you guys have never read all the way through the Bible before. There's others of you that this is a piece of cake. You've done it many, many times and you enjoy it as much as I do, if not more. I love it. It's nourishment. I mean, we just got through reading Jesus tell us to feed on him, to take him in, to eat his flesh and to drink his blood. And that's what I'm doing every morning is I'm seeking him for answers. I'm seeking him for guidance. I'm thanking him for the wisdom he gives me every day. So we do these Bible studies and we use this New Living Translation, the 1 year daily Bible. I use a New Living Translation because we have a lot of new believers that follow. I use a New Living Translation because when I get up really early in the morning, it's an easy, smooth read for me. So not blaming it on others. It's my translation of choice when I get up early in the morning. And then we use the New Living Translation because we've given out dozens and dozens of these Bibles. And I don't want to be on a different translation for somebody that may be doing this the first time. So I do the Bible studies to encourage you to read for yourself, to read and to listen as God's speaking to you. And I do these Bible studies to encourage you to pray. Those three things. If you'll pray and you'll listen and you'll read, you have the keys to the kingdom. He guides you in all truth. He never leaves you. He never forsakes you. He'll change you from the inside out. If you'll do that, and you'll continue to do that every single day, all of a sudden you'll wake up one day and you'll think, oh, I'm not angry about that anymore. God's taken that from me. Oh, I now understand that topic that is so controversial. I now have truth. And now I don't really care what anybody says about it. And the cool part about that is that you don't stand in judgment in that truth. That is so cool. When we don't quite understand and we're fighting for one politically correct side or the other, or one controversial side or the other, there's always judgment. But when we start walking in truth and we go, oh, that's what he's saying. Oh, that's what the truth is about that topic. Judgment leaves us. And whether or not we see the evidence of the changes, you may be on your first round of this Bible. You might be on your second or third round, and you're going, I don't think I'm getting it. I don't think I'm understanding it. The Bible tells us that his word never returns void. Even when you don't think you're getting anything out of it, a work is being done in you. He honors the sacrifice that you make. You make a sacrifice when you pause and you let all the other thoughts in your mind go away long enough to speak to your Father. He honors that sacrifice. He honors your sacrifice of time when you pause and you close your mouth and you listen with spiritual ears. He honors that sacrifice. And when you take the time and you rub the sleep out of your eyes and you yawn great big and you sip on your little cup of coffee, and you read and you go, what was that? He honors that sacrifice. And a change starts taking place on the inside of you that slowly makes its way up into your mind. And then your thought starts aligning with the Creator's thoughts. And then your words start aligning with the Creator's words. And you start creating the world in which you live. What's your world look like today? Are you happy? It's one of my favorite things to ask people. I think I've asked every one of my grandkids that more than once. Are you happy? Are you happy? Have you created a happy world to live in? Because your words creates the world that you live in. What words are you speaking? Examine your words and it'll show you your thoughts, and your thoughts will show you what's in your heart. And the only way to change what's in your heart on a permanent basis is to pray and listen and read. Now, you can do a few things to accelerate that process. You can do a grateful journal on a regular basis. It'll accelerate that process. And you can give. And you can give. There is somebody in need always around you. Somebody in need. There's always a nonprofit that's doing good things that could use your giving. And you'll accelerate your process. It's a terrific Tuesday. Find somebody to serve today. Find somebody to give today. Find somebody to pray for today. And watch your life change. Love you guys.